Today I'm going to share my story. Mr. Kakrani, if you are listening to this, I pray. I don't want you to die. No, I don't want you to die. I want you to suffer. I want you to be very miserable. I don't want your family, your wife, or your children to suffer because of your deeds. I want you to feel every pain. I want you to be paralyzed with a sickness that you would suffer for the rest of your life. But I want you to live a very long life so that you can go through it. So let me give you an overview so that you can understand my story better. I was already 13 in high school, and then I finished high school at the age of 17. I wasn't even 18 in anywhere in the story. Fast forward, there is this teacher called Mr. Kakrani. Mr. Kakrani was the head house master, if I would put it that way. He was not living on campus with us. Mind you, Mawuko Girls is an all-girls senior high school, and all the teachers on campus with the ladies or with the girls were female teachers. I could mention a few. There was Madam Lillian, I don't know the others, Madam Delight, Lady Gaga, and yes, that's all I can remember. So those were the teachers on campus with us. And then Mr. Krakani was the head teacher because he had access to, I think, the plants or something. So if there was power outage, he comes to make sure the generator is turned on. If there is water issues, he comes to make sure it's fixed. He made sure the school was kept clean and all of that. So because of that gesture or because of his responsibilities, he was deemed as one of the respected and honorable men on campus. That's why I believe he was given the head teacher title. Because Mr. Kakani was always up and about and very active in all of that and was seen as a good person, a lot of parents had entrusted their wards in his care. And my dad and my mom and my aunties are prime examples. So I would always go to Mr. Krakani if I needed to speak with my dad, or I needed to speak with my aunt, or I needed to speak with any relative of mine. Anytime we go on vacation or we go on holidays, I meet some of my male friends that would ask me, "Oh, do you know any teacher called Mr. Krakani?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I know him. He's a very good man." And then they'll be like, "No, Mr. Krakani is trying to take their girlfriends and all of that." And I'm like, "Mr. Krakani? Nah, he wouldn't do that. No, he's not that kind of person. Maybe it's just rumor, whatever, whatever." Until it happened to me. So fast forward up to WASI time. If you don't know WASI, WASI is like a general examination you write, and then when you pass the exam, you can go to the university to have your degree, your first degree or your HND. So as there was time for WASI and we were preparing, and I had just one last paper to write, which was economics. Mind you, in economics, in my whole school, I was considered one of the best economics students. In my class, I think the best economic students were from my class, general arts class. That was Alice and I. And funny enough, Alice was my assistant class rep, and I was the class rep. So we were the best economic students overall in the school. So let's put that fact aside. So we just had one last paper to write, which was economics. And then, unbeknownst to me, my dad had already planned with my big sister to pick me up the next day after my paper. Like, so after my final paper, I'm just leaving the next day. I saw Mr. Krakani on campus and I greeted and whatever. And he told me, "Oh, your dad wants to speak to you and whatever, whatever." I had no idea that my dad had made these plans. Mind you, we had spoken about it, but we had not really finalized. So I didn't really know the plans of my dad. So I said okay, and I followed Mr. Krakani to his office to speak to my dad because that is the usual. We go to his office, he calls our parents, and then we speak to our parents. So after speaking with my dad, he gave me the rundown that my sister and her husband would be picking me up from school, and then they'll be taking me home right after my economics paper. So that means that I have to clear myself from school the very day I finish my economics, so that the next morning I'll be out of school. So I finished the call with my dad, and then Mr. Krakani started engaging me in a conversation. He was like, "Oh, why don't you stay longer in Ho? You know, you have an auntie here." And I was, at first, it didn't even dawn on me. Yes, I do have so I did have an auntie in Ho. I'm speaking in the past because she's late, and rest in peace to her. But at that time, it had not even crossed my mind, and I was wondering how he even knew that. But I just assumed that my dad probably mentioned it to him, so that's why he knows my auntie is in Ho. And he was like, "Why don't I stay with my auntie in Ho so he can show me around? Like, it's not good that I've come to the city, I don't know anywhere and whatever." And mind you, I didn't grow up in Ho, so the only route I know in Ho is the route from my auntie's house to my school. Sorry for the interruption. This is really frustrating because I've recorded this video multiple times. I started recording this video at 4 p.m. Look at the time. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see, but it's currently 8:48, almost 9 p.m. I've shot this video over and over and over again, and It's only after I'm done saying everything that I have to say and I go and check, and it's either my phone went it's either my phone goes off or my storage is full or something just happens and then the phone stops recording. Anyway, back to the topic of me sharing my story. I sincerely hope that as I'm sharing my story, it also motivates other young girls to speak out and expose all these perpetrators out there. Okay, so I look back at the video and I realized I got to the point where I said the whole idea was to just just finish my paper and then be out of school. So I spoke with my dad, we agreed on that, and then from nowhere, Mr. Kakrani started walking towards me. I was seated on one of the tables, in this teachers' offices, in the tables, they have like books of students and all of that there, and normally we sit on the table while the teachers sit on their desk or on their chair with their desk and computer and all of that. As I was ready to get up and leave, he was approaching me. So I was a bit confused and he was talking. And while he was approaching me, he kept saying, it's not good that you come to the city that is Ho. You come to Ho and then you don't know the environment, you don't move around, like you don't know anywhere, at least explore around or stay with your auntie, then I can show you around. While he's saying all of this, he's approaching me. He is approaching me, and then from nowhere, suddenly, I will not call it kissing. I don't know what it is, but his mouth was all over me. And I don't know if you are listening, those who know Mr. Krakani, he has a very big mouth. Yes, his mouth was all over me, saliva on my face. And in that moment, the only thing I could do was I had to fold my lips and press my lips inside like this. Yes, I had to be like that. And he was still talking, saying, "Oh, why are you crying?" Because at that moment, I just broke into tears. He was like, "Why are you crying? You're such a baby. You're not a small girl anymore. Stop crying. What?" And while he was saying all that, he dipped his hand in my pants. I was wearing a sports jersey. Those sports jersey we wear in primary school, like the PE kits. That's what I was wearing. And the PE kits are big. It's not like anything tight that you'd be like, "Oh, you're seducing him. What?" First of all, I'm a child. Second of all, I'm in a uniform. Whether it's a PE kids or whatever, it's still a school uniform. I was still in a school uniform. It's not like I even had braids on or nothing, no lash, no nothing. So what would a 40-something-year-old man see in a small girl like me? And I bet on it that I was not the only one he ever did that thing to. Because if he was bold enough to do such thing to me, I mean, he probably did it to other girls. Anyway, I digress. So while he was doing that, he left me to go and close the window. So the door is on my right and then the window is on my left. So normally we the students use the window as an indicator that he is in the office or not. So if the window is open, we know that he is there and we can come there. But if it's closed, we know he's not around. So I'm probably positive that he went to close the window so that he could have some privacy. Unbeknownst to him, when he went to close the window, I ran.